Types of stressors. Of all the many different stressors, how many categories could we place them all into? Take a guess. Although they may overlap to an extent, there are 5 different categories or types of stressors. A stressor is considered to be a stimulus with the potential for eliciting a stress response and can be categorized into the following types. Physiological. A physiological stressor pertains to one's level of physical comfort or lack thereof and usually stems from illness or injury.
Ouch!
Think of how you feel when you're sick. It's stressful to not feel well. Being sick is definitely being out of homeostasis. Have you ever been in pain? And I'm not referring to minor pain like a cut on your finger pain, but major pain like from a broken bone or after having major surgery. It's stressful. Environmental stressors pertain to those that have to do with external environmental factors. Environmental stressors might overlap to some extent with physiological stressors because environmental stressors usually cause physical discomfort, but it's discomfort that results from environmental factors. Being too hot or too cold is an environmental stressor. Having grown up in Southern California, I was not accustomed to cold weather. Cold weather to me is anything below 60 degrees. I moved to the Midwest where I completed my doctoral studies. I never knew it was possible to be so cold that it hurt. I remember wanting to cry because it was so cold one morning walking to class, but I was afraid that my tears would freeze. I had left my apartment with my hair slightly damp after showering, and I couldn't believe when a few strands on my hair actually broke off because they were frozen. I had no idea that was even possible. Living in cold weather to me was definitely an example of environmental stress. Another example of an environmental stressor is excessive noise. Physiological responses on the body from noise can cause effects similar to chronic stress. So your heart rate and blood pressure, for example, can go up when it's too noisy, just as it would if you were experiencing emotional distress. This research article entitled, "Shh, You're Killing Me," discusses the negative effects of noise pollution on humans. Believe it or not, the World Health Organization concluded that chronic and excessive traffic noise is responsible for the deaths of about 3% of people in Europe with heart disease because stress on the body from noise causes effects similar to chronic stressors, which produces a buildup of stress hormones, inflammation, and biochemical changes that can lead to impaired blood circulation and even heart attacks. Sociological stressors stem from relationships or interactions with other people and can be very stressful. Examples include getting into arguments with friends or family members or dealing with the death of a loved one. Divorce or termination of a relationship is thought to be one of the greatest stressors. In fact, an individual who survived a concentration camp during World War II admitted that feeling rejected from a boy that she liked, in a way, was worse than the inhumane experiences she endured in a concentration camp. Rejection can be very stressful. Not only can it be very stressful when things are not right with friends and family members, it can also be stressful when things are not right with acquaintances or even strangers. It's stressful to feel offended with the rude cashier at the grocery store, or to feel frustrated or angry with the abrasive customer service representative on the phone. A psychological stressor stems from within yourself and pertains to your subconscious perception of yourself or your feelings of self-worth or lack thereof. Psychological stress is basically anything having to do with your relationship with yourself and or your level of self-esteem. Examples of psychological stressors include feeling depressed because you believe that you're not able to handle daily pressures or you feel inadequate to handle a particular situation. There's also some overlap with this type of stressor and the others because feeling depressed is technically considered psychological stress, but it may be caused by a sociological stressor, such as feeling rejected or any of the other types of stressors. A philosophical stressor comes from not living in congruence with your philosophy or your values and beliefs. An example might be guilt resulting from being lazy when you have a strong work ethic, or running late when you can't stand people who are always late. Another example is feeling bad about receiving a poor grade when you're used to getting only good grades and you have a negative image of those who receive poor grades. Or living with the knowledge that you cheated on an important exam when you usually have a strong level of integrity. It's It's important to define types of stress and stressors because you need to identify which types are prevalent in your life in order to select the most appropriate coping and relaxation techniques to combat those stressors. The supplemental video for this lecture is Chronic Stress Can Damage Your Health. It's just over 5 minutes long and is taken from that TV show, The Doctors. Key points.